By Paul Mashatile. Govan, are you with us? And do you have the ANC Treasurer General with you?
I do indeed, Tulasizwe. Paul Mashatile is the Treasurer General of the ANC. He's been the acting Secretary General of the party for quite some time now. And the briefing right now not only gave us some insight into the state of the commissions, but also the state of the ANC and the management of those branches. That's what we'll focus on in this interview. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mashatile. Let's begin with the ANC's membership. We heard yesterday that the ANC's memberships of members in good standing is just below 600,000, yet the entire membership is closer to 1.6 million. Pulemabi is saying it's closer to 2 million. So there's a huge gap of ANC members that aren't in good standing. Why is that the case? Does it have anything to do with the lack of capacity in the Secretary General's office to bring these people onto the new membership system?
Yes, I did say yesterday it's 1.6 million, and 600 plus minus 600,000 are in good standing, but there's another 800,000 that is not good in good standing. It's really people who have not paid their dues up to date, but they are there in our database. It doesn't have to do with the capacity of the Secretary General's office, because membership is renewed in the regions. So the branches renew there, and the provinces send information to us. So if we don't have the information, we can't update them. But we've now put in the new membership system where head office is taking more responsibility. We have a huge call center now where we are going directly to branches to assist them renew their membership. I think the situation is going to improve because the members are there, but they must renew when the card has expired, pay their dues, and head office is now doing it directly, working with provinces.
You've articulated an aspiration towards fewer but better within the ANC, while at the same time, the spokesperson of the ANC at least saying the ANC continues to grow towards 2 million members. Seems to be a contradiction there. What's the future of those members that are not in good standing? Will there be an audit to review the membership, and would we see the ANC cancelling the membership of some of its members?
Not necessarily. I think that what we have decided to do is to scrutinize people a bit more rigorously. So my point is that, yes, let's grow. Let's not turn people away, but let's not be desperate and want to grow for the sake of it and bring wrong elements in. So what the NEC decided we should do with the new membership system, we've introduced a probation period. So when you come and join, there's a waiting period where you are going to be checked, and there's a period where you are taken through proper education. We have an education committee, political education committee. We must teach you the ways of the ANC. We might even come to the conclusion that no, you are the wrong you are the wrong person to join us. Let's not be desperate that anybody who comes we just take.
So what's the ideal size of the ANC, and how long would a probation period be?
The probation period, at the beginning, I think we have agreed on 3 months. Obviously, it can be extended if we think that people need more political education. But we don't also want to behave and say to people, you are irritating us when you want to come here by taking longer with the probation. So 3 months is good enough. But we're not going to put a cut-off point and say when it's 2,000 members, we're no longer taking. No, we're not going to do that. But also we don't want to be desperate and every day we wake up and say, hey, let's push to 2,000, let's push. We must be able to say, yes, let people come, join the ANC, but let's vet them, let's educate them to make sure that we don't bring elements that are here for wrong reasons.
This policy conference is happening without that National General Council, and the NEC currently running the ANC has been sharply criticized by the late Kebi Mapatswe, for one, as being one of the NECs that has disbanded the most structures in its term in the history of the ANC. With the disbandment of the structures, there have also been sharper divisions that have emerged from regional conferences and provincial conferences. And so the leadership of the ANC by this NEC has come under sharp criticism as well. What's your response to the failure to keep those structures running and the sharp divisions?
One of the challenges of this NEC is that we're not able to sustain structures that are viable, particularly because of the environment we are faced with. After 2019 general elections, we were faced with the COVID situation. Branches were no longer meeting, regions were no longer meetings, we couldn't do BGMs, regional conferences. And the NEC had to take a decision. Some of the structures were now like 5 years in office instead of 2, some of them 6 years. So the NEC decided, no, we need to refresh these structures, we need to disband them and start again. Others were unhappy, of course, but others accepted. So it was not just disbanding willy-nilly. We looked at structures and said, no, this structure, some of the structures were really there by name. So we had to move in and say, let's put a new team of people to revive the structures. And I must say we've done very well so far. We've done 35 regional conferences so far. With provincial conferences, we're left with only 3. BGMs are taking place. So I think the intervention has been proved to be correct.
So then what do you think caused the divisions in those structures?
Sometimes people fight for positions. One of the things that we have been fighting is the issue of factionalism. Sometimes people fight, the right person is elected, but another faction doesn't like the person, so you have conflict. But we've intervened in many instances, we've pushed for unity, and you can see even this policy conference, things are running very well. So we want to engender that. Unity, comrades, unity at all times. Let's tolerate one another. Doesn't mean that we must think alike.
This policy conference has not reached any stage close to collapsing at all, which does indicate that it'll finish as expected to. But one of the concerns that's been raised inside the plenary has been the ability of delegates to hold the leadership accountable for the implementation of policies, especially since the NGC didn't happen. That's where that usually happens. Does this policy conference have the capacity to have an extensive debate around whether those policies have been implemented? And is the suffocation of those views happening?
Yes, no, they are. In fact, yesterday in the closed session, after I gave my report, regional and provincial delegates were very scathing. Some of them stood there and say, you guys don't want to be accountable. Why don't you tell us about this policy and that policy? And they were free to do so. And we said to them, comrades, when you go to your commissions, discuss everything. If you think that there's a resolution that was taken by the 54th National Conference and the NEC did nothing about it, raise it so that we can rectify that. If you think the NEC is not doing well, say it. And they are doing that. They are not being suppressed.
All right, thank you so much. That's Paul Mashatile. He's the Acting Secretary General of the ANC, presiding over a divided party at the moment, but saying that they're not going to suppress any views towards trying to achieve some sort of unity. It's back to you for now.
All right, thank you for that. That's eNCA's Govan Whittles there in conversation with the Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, at the end of that briefing, Sally.
Yeah, and also, again, being questioned on this quality of membership,
Yep.
which seems now to be a focus. And again, the question is, how do you do that? How do you assess someone's moral fibre? Do you give them a lie detector test before joining the party?
It's going to be quite tricky. One of the interventions has been this idea around the OR Tambo school, where they teach political education. It's sort of meant to be almost have enough, not autonomy, but basically not so attached to the ANC. While it is a concept of the ANC, it's headed up by David Masondo. And I'm hoping that at some point we might get to have a conversation with him and say,
1.6 million members. Is that what Paul Mashatile said?
1.6 million members, but only 600,000 are in good standing. A number of people not having renewed, not having paid their dues, etc., etc. And he also says they are not discouraging people from joining the ANC. So how will you do this fewer but better? If you want to be inching closer to 2 million, should there not be a pause that says, hang on, no one is a member until we've all gone through this filter?
Help me understand, in the midst of the many challenges facing this party, which by its own admission is in a crisis, is at its weakest moment, says the President, how this discussion will assist it, because I just see lots of red tape. in trying to sort out who are the right caliber of members.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it's going to be fought over. That's the other thing. How are you going to, like they're saying, it might require a constitutional amendment of the ANC. So at least that's a starting point. You could codify it and say, in order to become an ANC member, you need to tick these boxes. Do you look at educational qualifications such that you don't have a situation where the state of the economy, economic policies, are being debated by people who are...
Then you risk becoming an elitist organisation. And the problem with that is that you might not have had access to tertiary education because you don't have the funding.
Yes,
You've
but
got
you've
a
got a good
brilliant
head.
brain and you can figure things out.
Absolutely. Let's